Hi guys, in today's video we're going to be making plant-based maqluba, and this guy is Twix, my lovely puppy. Traditionally it's made with chicken or meat, but we're going to omit that in this recipe, and I'm going to make an interesting variation to it to add some protein into the dish. Essentially, it is a rice-based dish with some vegetables, usually eggplants, tomato, potato, and some carrots. It's going to be a really impressive kind of pot that we're going to flip upside down, and it's going to impress your family, your friends. So Twix, are you ready? Shall we make maqluba together? Don't worry, before you start commenting in the box below about how, need to wash my hands, sanitize, and all that sort of stuff. First of all, I do sanitize before or wash my hands before I cook. But most importantly, you're not actually here to eat the food, so it shouldn't trouble you so much. But knowing how people are on social media, they would have jumped into just those predictable kind of comments. So before we get started with the recipe, I'm Miral, and this is my channel From the Ground. I share healthy plant-based recipes, Middle Eastern and international, and I do a lot of other also kind of wellness kind of content, from vlogs to self-development and everything else in between. Guys, make sure to keep the energy flowing by subscribing to my channel. All right, let's get started. Okay, so first up, we're gonna roast our vegetables. Some people fry it, but we're not gonna do that because they taste super juicy and delicious roasted, and obviously it's a much healthier option to oven bake them. So I have gone ahead and sliced my tomatoes and potatoes and red capsicum or green capsicum, carrots and eggplants, and roasted them for about 20 to 25 minutes only, because we're gonna then continue on and cook them further in the pot. I just coated them with a bit of olive oil and a sprinkle of salt and roasted them, and we have this ready. So I'm gonna set this aside. Okay, so I've got my white rice and I've got my green or brown lentil. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rinse it really well in the sink, and then I'm gonna half boil it. So the traditional recipe just uses rice, okay? But I'm gonna also add some green or brown lentils, or you can use also red split lentils. Because I'm using brown lentils, I'm gonna actually rinse it with the rice. I'm gonna wash them thoroughly together, and I'm gonna half boil them in a pot. If you're using red split lentils, you don't need to add it now, just add it later on at the later stage, because that cooks really fast and easily without boiling before, because otherwise it'll make it mushy. Just for me to make sure that the lentils actually do cook through, I'm going to add them here with the rice. So I'm gonna add them together. So what I'm gonna do is I've mixed in my rice and my green lentils together. I don't want to cook them separately to make sure that the lentils don't overcook and become mushy. It's not worth that extra step, and that extra pot really doesn't need that. So I'm just gonna rinse it thoroughly, and then we're gonna continue on. Okay, so I have washed my rice and green lentil, and I'm gonna add it to a pot of boiling water to half boil. Okay, I'm gonna allow it to half boil, and I'm gonna know that it's ready once some of the rice will start floating to the top. So when some of the rice will start floating to the top, I'll know it's half boiled. Okay, so you can see that the rice is starting to float up. Okay, and we're gonna check it. So that's half boiled, okay? So now we're gonna make our tomato mixture, okay? We're gonna set aside. So I'm gonna heat some olive oil, and then I'm gonna add in my onion and saute that. The onion. Now that we have sauteed our onion, I'm gonna add chopped tomato, one chopped tomato. I'm gonna add tomato paste, okay? I'm gonna add my spices. So I've got cumin, coriander, turmeric, and paprika. And I'm also gonna add a bay leaf and cinnamon stick. Saute that for like 10-15 minutes to get a nice tomato mixture. So I prepared the tomato mixture and I set it aside. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start layering my pot. The bottom layer is gonna be what's gonna be on the outskirts of the dish when you flip it over. So usually you'd want to put like the eggplants and tomatoes, but I'm actually going to use the potatoes and carrots in the bottom layer because it's less likely that they would burn. Not that if you put the eggplant it would burn, especially if you control the temperature, but that is, you know, a safer kind of option. So I'm just going to start adding my potatoes in the bottom layer. I am going to add the carrots also. I'm using a light pot because when you flip it over, you want something light. I wanted to use my cast iron pot, but you know, flipping over a pot that's heavy, which the cast iron pots are heavy, it's, you know, I don't want to, it might be difficult to flip over. So I don't want any accidents happening there. So this is my bottom layer, and then I'm going to add my eggplant and tomatoes all around. Okay, so we've got all our roasted vegetables in. I'm gonna add half of our half-boiled rice and lentil, okay? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna then just remove the cinnamon stick and I'm gonna remove the bay leaf. Here we go, the bay leaves. Add half of the tomato mixture. So let's see how that is half. I've added half of the tomato mixture and spread it around. And what I'm doing is you can mix it a little bit with the top layer of the rice, okay? So you can get it nicely distributed. Well, you know what I forgot to add? I forgot to add salt. Now, the vegetable stock will also have salt. It will be salty, but still, we need to kind of still salt along the way. Add a bit of salt to the remaining that gets in there. Rest of the rice. And then we're gonna add our final layer of tomato mixture. Now I'm gonna dissolve a tablespoon of my vegetable stock paste, which is homemade. I'm gonna link the recipe to this homemade vegetable stock paste, but you can also just use a vegetable stock cube that you will just dissolve in ideally warmer water, just so that it will easily dissolve. Okay, so I'm making my broth, mixing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add broth into the pot, and then I'm gonna bring the liquid to a boil, and then I'm gonna cover and reduce the heat. Okay, I'm gonna now add a layer of foil and cover, okay, and then cook it for about 20 minutes on medium heat. So I allowed it to cook for about 20 to 25 minutes on medium heat. I'm just gonna give it like 10 minutes to kind of set and cool a little bit before I flip it, okay? So that's gonna be the fun part. I don't know what you think of the recipe, but while it is different kind of steps, they're all kind of straightforward, and I hope you don't find it as intimidating as it looks, because it looks like quite fancy. And remember, it makes such a generous portion. It really is a nice platter, especially if you have guests, to kind of be in the center of your dining table. I've let it set for 10 minutes. It's amazing. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna flip it over. Now, you can scoop it out, but like that just really ruins the whole look. If you feel confident to flip this over, then please do, because it's gonna look beautiful. If this is your first time doing it, please be careful and have somebody by your side to help you hold it when you flip, just to give you some assistance. Okay, so I'm holding it from the handles here, okay? And then I'm gonna flip it over, okay, in a really quick kind of motion. Okay, this is what you've got. Yeah, baby. Okay, that's the flip. So I've got just some potatoes here, which we can slide on over. Okay, nothing is burned, nothing. Anyway, it was on medium temperature. You have a beautiful, impressive dish that is massive portion. Of course, you can adjust the ratio to your liking. Look at that. Oh. This is how you make homemade maqluba. It is one of my favorite recipes. It's an Arabic Middle Eastern dish. Yeah, let's try some. Super flavorful, juicy, not dry at all, and we are done. Guys, if you like this video, make sure to keep the energy flowing by subscribing to my channel so it can help me reach more people with my content. I post healthy plant-based recipes, vlogs, self-development content, wellness, and everything else in between. If you want to upgrade yourself to your 2.0 version of yourself, then make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.